So you have a startup idea that you just can't stop thinking about. Well, in this video, we'll go over how to ask the right questions to validate that idea. So first off, avoid asking potential customers how much they would pay for your product. This seems like a really obvious question to ask your potential customers because you want a profitable business and you're trying to gauge how much people would actually pay for the solution you're offering. But if you depend on this question to validate your startup idea, a lot of times you'll be left wondering why some people who were super enthusiastic and said they would pay for your product usually end up ghosting you. And this is because a lot of people will usually tell you what you want to hear. They want you to like them and they want to be supportive of your business idea. But this doesn't mean they'll actually pay for it in the end. So how to find out that other people will actually pay for your product? Let's first take a look at what a UX researcher would ask instead. So, what kind of applications do you currently pay for in this space? Gotcha. So when was the last time you paid for an app? So these questions focuses on facts instead of hypotheticals. Instead of asking your customers what they think about your app, you're actually asking them questions about their past behaviors, what they have already done. So for example, if I've never paid for an app in the past, I probably wouldn't pay for yours either, regardless of what I say in the interview. But if I have paid for an app, you can ask me questions such as details about this particular product area, how much you paid in the past for these apps, what you're looking for in these apps, and more. And from there you can ask more questions to figure out how much I pay for your app. Secondly, a very common mistake is showing a client a potential solution before you've even identified their needs. So a lot of times, I've done this before, where you get really excited about a possible solution and you show up to your client meeting, the first meeting, and you show them your prototypes and your screenshots. And this is my favorite because I've done this mistake a lot and I've been asked to do this a lot by my clients. Hey, so could you make a quick mock-up of the solution? This is a problem. As soon as you show a client a potential solution, instead of trying to delve deeper into idea validation and discovery and to find out what their pain points are, they will automatically start by critiquing and finding out what's wrong with the prototype and screenshot you just presented. Remember, initial meetings are just about understanding the user's current mental model, any of their current solutions, pain points, and needs. But if you place a solution right in front of them, they will more likely to be biased towards what the solution should be instead of figuring out if their problem needs a solution at all. Number 3, don't ask your users for solutions. It might seem a bit straightforward, so you want to create a user-centric product. Why don't you just go to the users and ask them what they want and what their solutions would be? So user interviews shouldn't be a list of every requirement that that particular user wants. You aren't building a product specifically for this particular user. So it is important to take note of these potential solutions, not as a requirement, but as interview data. So what's the difference between interview data and a requirement spec? So first off, interview data has to go through all of the synthesis along with all the other data you collected. And after validation, then something can be approved as a requirement spec. So after all that synthesis, we can write user stories to find out what their requirements are for this product from the user's point of view. So for example, roll clip.
So this quote by Henry Ford has been brought up many times when people argue against user-centric design. And it says, if I had asked people what they wanted, they would have said faster horses. And here we're taking note of the user's proposed solution. And their solution is that they want a faster horse. We take that as interview data and we synthesize it. And when we synthesize that interview data, we find out that the reason they want a faster horse is so that they can get from point A to point B quicker. We write user stories in this format so that it's easy to bring out the real need from the user's point of view.
And lastly, don't conduct interviews alone or with more than 2 people. So if you're a solo founder or a UX team of 1, you might know how difficult it is to, take notes, ask questions, think about what you want to say next, all at the same time. So with all that multitasking, sometimes your notes might be all over the place. So it's always better to have 1, a designated note taker, and 2, a secondary person who will be asking all the questions and driving the conversation forward. But also having more than 2 people might be too many, because you also want the user to feel very comfortable giving their honest feedback and answers. So if there's like 10 people in the room, it might be a little awkward for them to say what's on their mind. So in conclusion, here are 4 mistakes to avoid when you're trying to validate your startup idea. Number 1, don't ask customers how much they'll pay for your potential product. Instead, ask them about their behaviors on products they currently pay for. Number 2, instead of showing a client a solution right away, take your time to understand their pain points and needs before coming to a conclusion. And remember to do this without bias. Number 3, uncover potential solutions in user interviews without directly asking users what their proposed solutions are. Number 4, conduct interviews with a partner to share responsibilities, but make sure you don't include too many people. We all know that it's important to validate our ideas before we commit to it, but we know that starting with an incorrect validation process can usually be more frustrating. So I hope these tips help you in creating products with great user experience. Thank you for watching. Oh, one last thing. Remember to give us a like, comment, and subscribe for more UX related content. See you later.